morning, Brian. Good morning, Margaret, or good evening, wherever you are. Who else are we missing?
Linda.
Oh, and oh,
Me.
you're not missing. Linda's missing. So, what we're going to do today, we're going to look at the new facilities within Lightroom for denoise, and we're going to look at something called super resolution because what is it? Rejuvenated it. Call it what you will. No, they've rebranded it, for want of a better word. It's not what you think. It's not as good as what people are saying. I've been reading quite a few articles on the internet of people that use it, and they said, well, it's okay, but Topaz have got this new enhancement. Also on One have got an even better one now, where you've got control over what you're doing, where this is just take it or leave it, which from Adobe's point of view is poor, because they've been resting on the laurels for too long now, and other companies such as Topaz and on One, and there's a few new other companies come out which are leaving Adobe behind. And on the recent survey that people have put on, there is somewhere in the region of 23% of people have left Adobe in the last 6 months because of all this new software other people are offering, which is cheaper. I subscribed to the whole package because obviously I've got the teaching license. They give me a little bit reduction, but if I was to have the full package that we have with Adobe now, it would set me back around about £70 a month, which I think is outlandish for what they're offering now. As Roger knows, and Tony, we're using DaVinci Resolve for our videos, which takes 3 of the items away from Adobe, and it absolutely leaves them behind in the quality and what you can do. Adobe Lightroom is being left behind by a couple of programs, especially on One, which is taking a large chunk of the market now. And of course Photoshop, well, on One is Photoshop and Lightroom combined for a fraction of the price. So, and it's better quality. So I still love the Adobe products. I'm not going to ditch them, but Adobe's got to get their act in order, because they are being ridiculed as a big market player by poor software, and it's full of bugs. I've just been using Lightroom this morning with the update, and I've had 2 instances today where on One I had to reboot it because it got lost in the denoise panel. I hope it doesn't happen in the class, otherwise we'll all be rebooting, but we'll see. It may be just something that happened to me. So I'm now going to share my screen, and we're going to talk about this new piece of software. Let's just get all these panels out of the way onto that screen so you can see all my screen. I can see you a lot up there. And can you see my screen okay? Okay. Let's have a little look. So one of the key things that we're going to look at today is this thing called denoise. Now, Ron sent me a nice picture. I think there's a couple of pictures. One in particular, I think, Ron, you aimed at noise issues, was it not? But we had to do it as a DNG. And we looked at this photograph. I'm going to reset your photograph here, Ron, just for the moment, because I'm going to explain why in a minute. Command and comma. I don't know whether it'll let me do a denoise on here. We'll see. I'll just check. It's still classed as a DNG. Yeah, still classed as DNG. I'm not sure, and I'm not. This is where it locked up on me a short while ago. I'm not sure whether you can do a denoise on a virtual copy, even though it's classed as an image copy. You can see from Ron's picture, it's a good resolution, 6240 by 4160, so it's a 6x4, 3x2 format, which is a standard format that we use. The picture is okay. I don't think it's that noisy, but we'll have a look at the sky, and I think what it's done, it's actually applied the denoise to us. So I'm just going to have a look at, this is Ron's original. There's Ron's original. So I'm going to copy that one, not these two. I'm just going to delete these two. I don't want that one because it's already applied the denoise. get rid of that. So this is Ron's original image. I'm going to reset that. And we've got some detail in the sky. But I'm going to bring that back so we can see where we got to. Get rid of that, and we're ready to go. So the denoise facility within Lightroom is found in the details panel. So if you want, Ron, did you send this through WhatsApp or the chat room as well to everybody? Has everybody got a copy of this one?
No, I did it for you on the weekend.
Okay, I'm just wondering whether or not if I send this, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'll do it on here, and then to break, I'll send it all through to you, and you can all have a look at this, and we can work on. I'll see if I can find a really noisy file of mine that we can probably work on too. The denoise is classed as AI. I am a little bit unsure why Adobe are calling this AI, because it does it on your computer. A lot of the AI facilities within other software packages use AI using the internet. So you use their servers and the artificial intelligence to work these out. As far as I can make out, this denoise does not work via the internet. I could be wrong, but I have seen where it tells you how long it takes, and it states quite clearly on the Adobe page that you have to have a minimum specification to run this on your computer, which means that you're using the resource of your computer and not the AI as on the internet with other packages are doing. So, for example, the neural engines within the Adobe Photoshop that we'll use when we come across to there to do some work in there, you have to be connected to the internet, because you actually use their computers and their cloud system to do the work on the image for you. And as Roger pointed out, he sent me a picture about, you know, how you can make an AI picture quite easily. And did he not one of them win a competition, Roger? Am I right in saying that? Creative.
Won a major award for it, and that was just computer generated.
Yeah. So it's quite scary now. I've just read an article on YouTube the other day regarding AI, and they're saying that within 4 years, 40% of all major tasks will be undertaken by AI, which is quite scary. You know, we're talking about some serious software out there, which in the wrong hands and the wrong place would be, yes, very questionable as to our security as human beings. We're back to the Terminator sort of thing, aren't they, where they take over, think for themselves and take over. Anyway, we're a long way off that, and I'll be long gone before the Terminator gets me. So if you want to have a look in your panel on the right hand side under detail, you will see where it says sharpening, we have denoise. Can you all see that? Have you all located it? Now, unlike on one, although they do like to use DNGs on there, it is quite restrictive. You have to use DNG files. You can't use anything else. And you'll find also that when you apply a denoise, you can't go back and tweak it. Once you've done it, it's a one shot, done. What you have to do is delete it and have another go. And then if you don't like that, you delete it and have another go. And the worrying thing is, if you make changes to it and you go back to start, you lose all your settings. However, if you make all the changes prior, so let's look at these two images, for example. We've got Ron's two images. There's Ron's two images. They both look very similar. One is the original and one is the one I've applied the denoise to. If I was to go in, because, and I'll tell you why, I'll just backtrack. Adobe are recommending, just like your chromatic aberration, there is a little bit on this, Ron, that we'll need to amend to. They are saying that to do this as one of the first things you do to your image. However, should you do this and then apply all the changes, and then decide that you don't like the denoise, it's too soft, or if you then go back and redo it, you'll lose all your settings. If you work on, let's say, the bottom image, Ron's original, and I work on that, and I make some spot healing brushes, I do sky enhancement, the bottom area enhancement, and I convert that using denoise, it will take all those settings, it will do the work, and it will retain it. And the thing is, when I work on this bottom image of Ron's, when I apply a denoise, it creates a new image, which you'll see in a moment. So it doesn't make your denoise on your original image and leave it there, it creates a new image. It's a bit like when we create a TIFF. You do your work and then you export it as a TIFF. Well, this exports it as a new DNG with that on.
Gary, and
Yeah, listen.
that will work on CR2 as well.
What will?
Noise. But when it's done the denoise, it will save it as a DNG.
It saves the DNG, yes.
Yeah, but I say it will work on a CR2 as well as a DNG.
I've tried the CR2 raw files and it won't work.
Well, I've just done it on mine and it will.
Then you must have a different software to what I have, because, and I'll show you why. Oh, see what I mean? I've just gone to denoise and it just locked out again. Never mind. The reduced font. Now, I don't know whether you've got a new copy, Roger, but I tried. Let's just try. It won't work on that. It won't work in that format. So we'll just do a raw file. Then you're saying this is a standard, because I tried a standard raw file and it wouldn't do it. Now, it may be I only just updated mine again the other day. So it may be. Let's just have a look.
The second one along, Gary.
Yeah.
They want it 100 Stanton, which is laying on its side, look.
Well, there you go, Roger, because when this came out, when I first looked at this, and I know there's been an update because I just updated it this morning, or yesterday, it would not let me do a raw file. In fact, so much so, on the Adobe website with Julian Cost, she states quite clearly that at the present moment, it will only work on DNG files.
It's working on that, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So they've obviously changed that, and that's, I know they did an amendment to it recently, so it may be. So I'm going to rephrase it, and I actually looked at another video this morning, YouTube video that Photoshop Cafe did regarding it, and he said it only works on DNG files, and that's only 3 or 4 weeks ago. So obviously in that last update they've done, they are now letting you use CR2. In fact, we discussed it, didn't we? We said that they said they were going to release it shortly, but I didn't know they'd done it, and I didn't check, to be honest, when I looked at this new piece of software, the update this morning. Okay, well, that's good news then. At least they're moving in the right direction, but this is typifies Adobe. They are so far behind that they're releasing a lot of software right now, which is, I don't feel, ready for the market, but this is what they say. We have got a new update. We can now do this. But okay, well, that's good news, Roger. We might use one of your images, actually, if it's got a noisy... we've got one that's really noisy, Roger. Did you say there were one you shot? I'm looking at the ISO in the histogram at the top right.
As shot,
that's just... Oh, wait a minute, that was 1600. That's 1600.
That's Tony's, that one.
Is it? Oh, that's 60. That's got some noise in it. Oh, that'll be good one to do.
I had to shoot it on my original DSLR,
Yes.
K10D, because my camera's pretty good and I don't usually work at high ISOs, and
Yes.
so I couldn't really find any badly noisy pictures, so
Good.
I just shot that one.
That's good. Well, that's got one we can look at anyway. I'm going to go back to this one we did with Ron, because I was ready to do this. Let's have a look. So going back to what I said then. So, okay, Roger, thank you for that. I wasn't aware that the last release, they'd allowed raw files as well. And I say it's ironic. I've been on the Julian Cost website, which is the Adobe one, and they've not updated the tutorial on it. It states them there that when it works on DNGs. But okay, that's great news. We said they'd probably do it and do it quick, and they have done. So going back to what I said, I'm going to show you this bottom panel, and I'll explain what happens. If I can make it bigger. Nope. So I'm going to have to do this. So at the bottom here now, in the film strip, you'll see I've got two images. This is Ron's original, and you'll notice it says 1 of 2 and 2 of 2. Now what it's done, it's recreated a new DNG, and if you look at the icons at the bottom, it's showing you these little stars. Can you see those? Look on the big screen. You won't see it on yours because you've not changed anything yet. So look on the big screen. Or on your own screen, if you're watching it on your own screen, you can see that we've got these little dots, and that's telling you that denoise has been applied. Okay, so that's one way you know your images have been applied. Now, the other thing is, when you apply denoise, as I say, it creates a new file. And I'm going to show you how it works, why you've got 1 of 2 and 2 of 2. Because it stacks the images side by side, or one on top of the other. So it keeps the new file with the old file as a stack. And you can change that whether you want it stacked or not, or side by side. The key thing, as I was saying to you, is if I was to take Ron's original picture, which is the bottom one, and I do all the features on here that Ron has got, so I'm going to go onto here, into basic. Come on, picture, wake up. Photoshop, Lightroom's really going slow. And any changes that we've done on this particular picture, any masking, anything we've done, all these, if I apply the denoise afterwards, all those settings and changes go over into the new DNG file. Make sense? Yeah, so it takes it. Now, what they're saying is, best not do that, best do it as a DNG file and then work on it. But you can't go backwards on the second DNG file. If you do it on the first DNG file, your original, and then you do a new DNG file and you go, actually, I don't like it, it's too wishy-washy, and because it's set in concrete, you can't do it, you could delete that file, and then you could go back to your original file, make a few adjustments if you want, and then reapply this denoise.
Doesn't it go back on the Command Z?
No, because if the denoise is first, it'll be at the bottom of the history and it will not let you go back and change it.
Right.
So you're a bit limited at the moment. This will probably change as well, just like in AI, on one, when they first brought theirs, that is a little bit limited, but now you can go back and tweet it. It's not a new file. It still works on the original. Remember what I'm saying? If you look at the two images at the bottom, I've got number 6 is the original, and number 5 is the new DNG file. So if I apply the noise reduction on number 6 at the very beginning before I do anything else, it creates a new DNG file, which is number 5. Then I do all the changes, I do the settings, and then you suddenly say, actually, I don't like the denoise. The only way you can reapply it, you can't go back into denoise and then back it off like you can with normal panels. So let's say I've done some exposure changes. If I go back, I can go back and change it at any time, because we're always working on a preview, aren't we? We never work on the preview. However, when you go to that DNG file, if you want to change that noise adjustment, you have to start again. You lose all your work. Okay? So bear that in mind. If you follow what they say, and they're recommending that you do your denoise first and then do all your settings. One comment that was made on more than one site is that if you apply all the changes and the masking and the sky adjustments and the dust removal, etc., and then apply denoise, the denoise takes a lot longer. And in some cases, significantly longer, that you think, oh, it's stuck. And it does actually, in the panel, when you're working on this denoise, it actually tells you, gosh, come on. It actually tells you when it's doing it, what is a predicted time, how long it's taking, because you think it's gone to sleep. You're thinking, what is it doing? And 20, 30 seconds later, it's finished the job. So if you do all the changes first and then apply denoise, it has to do a lot more work to analyze the picture with all those changes on to apply the denoise. So unlike all your other panels, denoise, once you do it, the only way you can go back is to go back to the original file and do denoise again. You cannot apply a denoise on top of a denoised image at the moment. I believe this will change, and I believe that eventually you will have a facility that you can go back and back the noise off, because we all know when you apply certain settings, it affects another thing. So let's say we're doing color or we're doing dehaze, you sometimes have to back the color because it punches the color very strong and makes a contrast thing. So you do that and you tweak the others back. It goes back to what we said when we first started editing with you guys. This software in Lightroom and in many other software is like tuning the piano. You tune it flat, you tune it sharp, you tune it flat until you find that sweet spot. And if you apply the dehaze, it will affect the quality of the image, so you have to tweak it back to get the result. And unfortunately with this denoise you can't do that at the moment. So without further ado, what is the process? Well, we have Ron's picture. I'm going to delete this picture. Can I just also point out to you, and we're going to do this together, if you're in the develop module and you go to the history panel, you'll notice I've clicked on the picture. There's Ron's original picture. There it is. And this is what we did in Ron's picture last week. Remember, I went through and did all the changes. We started off there, and when we finished with all the history, we ended up with something like that. So that is all the history. And just like in Photoshop, you can go back. So if you didn't like the brush, you can take that off, you can back this off, and you can go back and see what you've done and what the effect is. Now, when you come to work, excuse me, when you get your new DNG file, all the history disappears. It's gone because it's a new file. And not only is it a new file, it's now telling you how it's working. So it's now called the enhanced noise reduction, and then the 97 is the amount from 0 to 100 I've applied the noise level to. So if it said there enhanced NR50, it means I've applied 50% denoise, and it tells you the date when I did it and time. Why, I don't know, but it's telling you when you actually enhanced it. But you can see that all the history, everything we've done on that picture is now gone. Okay? Although the settings, if I look in the settings here, all these now have gone back to 0. The only one is the vibrance. Remember the vibrance. So, if I suddenly come to this picture, sorry, I've just told you a pork pie, all those come forward, but the history doesn't. But all the settings you've done in your masking is still there. So you can change that, but you can't apply a denoise to it. So I can go in and change this, but if I don't like the denoise, I have to start again. And all your history disappears because it's a new file, but the settings are transferred over. Okay, so you'll know that if you've done a denoise on it, one, this little icon at the bottom in your panels, and also in the history it will tell you when it was created and what you've done to it. Just to remind you as well, if you look underneath my histogram on the big screen, and I'm going to do this, you will notice that underneath certain panels, okay, remember I mentioned to you, if there is a dot underneath, what does it mean? If there is a dot under any of those icons, what does that mean?
Have been applied.
It's something's been applied. You've made some changes. There is something active within those tools. So you know, you can see straight away that I've done a crop or a rotate, I've done a mask, and I've certainly done some basic settings. And if I click on the basic settings, down here in Bing, come up a bit more. I said, trouble with this thing, it goes in too well, and I can't see where I'm doing. Whites, texture, oh, up and down here. You'll see that the vibrance has moved up. Yeah, and that's the change. Okay, let's get rid of that one. Let's have a look at this denoise in action. I'm going to delete this image, and I'm going to delete it from this. So I haven't got that picture no more. This is Ron's picture that we're going to work on. And if Ron can hand this out at break time, we'll all do it together after break. I'm going to go through this bit at a time. So, our denoise is found under detail. And I'm going to explain a little bit about it. So this, you can still use your manual if you wish. So this is your manual one. You can still use that. It's still available. And of course your coloured denoise is there, which is what we've used in the past. So we've used the luminance level and we can change that up there. If now I decide that I want to apply the denoise, we just hit on the denoise button. Now there is nothing that you can hover over at this stage to see what it would be like before and after, because at the moment the panel is not active. So on Ron's picture, and say don't do this yet, we'll do this when you've had your cup of tea in 10-15 minutes. We'll look at this and we'll have a go together. So I'm going to click on denoise and then I'm going to explain this panel. Now you can, I'm going to show you this panel, don't do this, just watch and we'll all do this together in a moment. You can, if I come out of here, hover over with my Alt or Option key when I click on denoise, and it will apply the last setting. And what that means is, if I'm doing batches, let's say Teresa decides that, you know, she's got all these images that she's just took on this shot, and all these 10 images all want the same amount of denoise. Now at the moment, you'd go into the picture, click on denoise, come out, go into the next one, click on denoise, let it do it. You can batch edit these. Or, Teresa, what you can do, you can click on the first image, make the change, yeah, go to the second to the 10th one, highlight them all, go to the denoise button, hold down the Alt key or Option, Alt or Option, Alt on a PC, Option on a Mac. It's said the same anyway, depending which keyboard version you have in the Mac. If you hold that down and click denoise, it will apply the last setting that you did to all those images. Now I'm told that from the Adobe beta version that when this came out, they're going to make it such that you can do it as a sync. Now it might be, Roger, like you've just very thankfully pointed out, that it will now do raw files. It didn't when it first came out. It's doing raw files. Thank you, Roger, for that. Very kind. Thank you for pointing that out to me. I didn't notice. I only updated it yesterday and played with it again this morning with the new change because my software was so far behind it wouldn't let me do an update. And I'm worried about going to all this new software. I've got a working system and every time you update, something goes wrong. So you can hopefully, Teresa, go to sync and it will allow it in there as denoise. I'll check in a moment because I've not checked this morning. Thank you, Roger, for doing that. Maybe that is the case on this too. So I'm going to do this again. Now notice when I did denoise, remember on the original picture, the new file name was enhanced NR 97. Can you remember that? Can you remember what the 97 denoted, Linda? Because you've got the microphone on.
No, I can't.
97%.
Correct. So 97. So if I now go to denoise, and I'm going to click this off, chosen Ron's picture, I'm going to go to denoise, I'm going to click on denoise. Notice that it's remembered the last setting, 97.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so it's remembered that. Now I'm just going to explain a little bit about this panel. You can obviously select denoise, or you've also got this raw details and super resolution, which are both grayed out. And you can see at the moment on that panel, I have got 97% selected. Now then, if I take that down to 1%, yeah, or I switch off denoise, if I do denoise, and then switch it off, you'll notice there's still a difference. And that's because there is no denoise 0. It's only subtle, but if that denoise is set and you apply it and enhance, it will at least apply 1%. So is there a difference? If I got this picture and I did denoise at 1 and then I did it without denoise on and looked at them, there would be a small difference, very slight, but there is a difference between it being enabled and not enabled. So if it's enabled at 1%, it will apply something. If it's switched off and you want to use raw and super resolution, then it will apply nothing at all. Okay, so there is, if you click that denoise at 1%, it will apply 1%. That makes sense to you all? Yeah. So somebody said, oh, well, you just put it to 1% and it don't do it. Well, what's the point? Because you can't use anything else in the panel. So I'm afraid his argument didn't add up. But Adobe did answer on the forum and said, no, if denoise is on and it's set to 1, you can't set it to 0 at the moment. If it's set to 1 and you click enhance, it will apply 1%. Okay, makes sense. Now then, what on earth is raw detail and super resolution? Right. This super resolution's been in Lightroom for quite a time now, but it was always overlooked. People don't know it's there, and mainly because, well, it's a bit fixed and a bit cumbersome. Does anybody know what super resolution is? Has anybody used it?
No.
No.
Okay, I'm just going to just sidetrack a second and I'm going to come out of here. Let's say, for example, I'm going to come to this crop, Ron's picture, and I decided that actually I wanted, this rock is very special because Ron sat on it with his friend and I want just that piece. But if I crop that now, notice at the picture, it's now a lot smaller image, isn't it? Yeah. And if I come down a bit more, I'm going to get Ron's head on there. But I'll tell you what, let's turn it round so I can get Ron sat on that rock and his friend, and then his friend sat on this rock here. And Ron's on this first one. Can you see my mouse moving, by the way? The hand.
Yes.
Yeah, it's okay. Sometimes I can't tell because I can't see what you can see. So I've got Ron sat on one rock, his friend, and the other one. But now notice, just like we've had before, Linda, when I've said to you, oh, Linda, you must have cropped this one, you have. That file is now only 980 by 1843. So it's quite a small picture, isn't it?
Yeah.
So let's say that you love this, Ron, and you've got your picture. You think, oh, God, I'm going to send this to, I don't know, what's his name? Angus, up in Aberdeen. That's the only name I know. Angus MacLeod in Aberdeen. Or it could be from Glenorchy, or I don't know, you know all the names. And you wanted to print that out and send it to him so he can put it on his wall. But because it's a low resolution, it might not print very well, will it?
No.
If I'm going to print that out at, I don't know, 360 pixels, it's going to be, if I was going to stick to 360 pixels, it's going to be quite a small image. It's almost the same size as that if it was 1:1. So it's not very big, is it? So what Adobe realized when they brought out Lightroom and the print module, they had people saying, well, it's okay, but we can crop, but the image isn't very good. How come? Well, you're working on previews and you're working on this and you're cropping the image. The resolution is a lot smaller. So they included something from Photoshop. And in Photoshop, what is the difference between Photoshop and Lightroom?
It's a pixel editor.
Correct. So in one you work on pixels and in this one you don't. You actually work on the enhancement. You look at the original and you'd say, well, this is what it would look like if I did something else and sent it elsewhere. So if I was to send this now to Photoshop, I could do something to it. And what is that? Can you remember what there's in the menu? There's something we can do to an image. We can actually make it bigger, can't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can make the image bigger. And you've all heard of Topaz Enhance, or Topaz, I think it's...
Topaz Denoise.
no, not the denoise, the one for making them bigger. I can't remember what it's called. Oh, damn, I can't remember. It's something else to do with making it bigger, but it's Topaz do one. And on one, I've got an incredible one, which used to be something called Genuine Fractals, which is an amazing piece of software. And the maths in there are amazing, because I did fractals once when I was doing my degree in engineering. And fractals are amazing. It's the infinite. You just keep going and going and going and going. So the problem is, if I was going to print this and I'd take it into Adobe, I could make it bigger and I could add more pixels, can I not?
Yeah.
Is that true? So we go into image size, we make it bigger, and we tell it now to do it at 360 pixels an inch at 6x4 or 10x8, yeah? So Ron can print it out, and it does it. But what does it do to the picture?
Makes it noisy.
It makes it a little bit more, not quite as clear. It's not as focused, because where there's a gap, it's going to create a pixel to fill that gap in. Because if I want 360 pixels and I've only got 140, and I make it bigger, it's got to generate new pixels. And the word for it is interpolation, isn't it? We talk about interpolation or adding pixels. Now, Lightroom can't do that. Or can it? Well, yes, it can. Because in super resolution, it can actually add more pixels. And it's the only thing in Lightroom where you are working with pixel size. So if I was going to do this and Ron wanted this picture, yeah, take it into Photoshop, make it bigger, crop it, whatever you want to do, but make sure you've got enough pixels in there. It won't be as good as quality because you're making pixels up. The computer's got to think, how do I fill this gap in between this pixel? I've got 3 more pixels to fit in here. How am I going to do it? Well, I'm going to look at the average of each one and then make a gradient and make up a pixel to match it. And it don't do a bad job. And we all know that in Photoshop you can do different enhancements, different methods, bicubic smoother, and there's all different options you can do to make new pixels used in different formats and different techniques. So I'm in Lightroom though, and I don't want to go into Photoshop, but I want that picture. Well, there is something called super resolution, and I'm going to crop this, Ron, for a second. And in photo, come on, let me just get back on my menu. In the photo thing, there is something called enhance. Now, it was there, but it was slightly different, and they've changed this once again. You can see the shortcut, Shift Command and I, Shift Option and I. If I click on enhance, you get this same one again. Now, you didn't obviously get this before because they've added this within the new denoise thing. And in there now, if I uncheck denoise, I have got super resolution. And what super resolution does, it doubles the size of the image. In other words, it adds pixels. So when you do some cropping in future, Linda, you could actually come in here in future and say, well, Gary keeps saying that, yeah, I keep saying, or Louise does, sorry, not you, Linda, Louise, hello, Louise, hope you're having a great time wherever you are, but when Louise crops them down on her iPhone, if you remember, we had a little picture and they were very pixelated and very noisy. You can actually come into super resolution and increase it. Now, I looked at some of the information that it tells you about this, and you click on the I button, tell me more information, and guess what it tells you? Absolutely nothing. I click on information and there is nothing. It will not tell you what super resolution is. But effectively, it's an interpolation software inside Lightroom to double the size image. Now, as I said, in the Topaz one, I can't remember what it's called. Oh, annoyed now. But certainly in On One, you can go into On One and say, okay, I've cropped this. I'd like it to be bigger. And you can tell it what size, how many pixels, just like in Photoshop, in Enhance. But you can do that without affecting the original image. Then you can create another image from that if you like it and you want to print it out. Within Lightroom, the only way we can interpolate pixels is this, but in Photoshop, obviously we make a bigger image and then we can bring it back into Lightroom to continue working. So the problem is super resolution is fixed. There is no sliders. You can't tell it a size you want. You can't tell it what you want to do. You can't tell it to do it 3 times as big. It's fixed. You can have it double or nothing. It's a bit like the old card game with Bruce Forsyth, double or nothing. So that's all you can do. But that's been there for some time, but they brought it into this denoise panel now because people, well, none of you knew, did you? You were pretty honest about it. You've never seen this within Lightroom. I'll just cancel that a second. And yet it's been there up here all this time.
Is that Topaz thing, Topaz Gigapixel?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Thank you. I know I couldn't quite get my worms out. as they say. But yes, Gigapixels, that's the one. Topaz Gigapixel, and On One is just part of their old software. It's part of it. They bought Genuine Fractals out years ago. It's absolutely brilliant piece of software. And when you do it, I mean, I always say to you, oh, you see these things on Miami Vice or whatever, where they say enhanced picture, and it suddenly makes a picture from nothing. Well, we all know it can't do that. It can, but the software is getting better and better at applying some optical filters to make it look like it's optically improved. But it's not the same as an actual glass lens. It never will be.
Well, Gary, what about the Topaz Denoise program, the plugin? I mean, does that work just as well? Because I've got
it's a plugin, as you say. I mean, if I was in Lightroom now and you had Topaz Denoise and I had also On One software, I could denoise them both in there. But now they put it into Lightroom. The only problem with the one in Lightroom, I don't think it's as good. And I think they've released it very quickly. They're on the back foot, Adobe, at the moment. They used to be the market leaders, and unfortunately, just like Marks and Spencers and Home Stores and all these big chain stores that are going downhill fast, is because they rest on their laurels. They don't move with the market, and they've certainly not moved with the market in software. They brought Lightroom out. They've got Photoshop. Oh, we're the world's. That's an industry standard. So is Premiere Pro and After Effects. Well, guess what? There's new kids on the block, and they give them a good hiding at the moment. So, but you know, I think for what you want, possibly, this denoise will do the thing. And I'm pretty sure Adobe will tweak this as quick as they can to get it back on the market to say, hey, look, you know, we've got something just as good now. But they're on the tails of all the competitors at the moment. They're not leading like they used to. They're trying to play catch up. So that enhance was there, but when you did it before, it came up with a new panel, different panel to the denoise one, and you could apply a super resolution which just doubles the size. So if I go to here, Ron's picture now, you can see it's 980 by 1843, and just like on Tomorrow's World, this will all go wrong when I apply here. But you can't, by the way, apply super resolution and raw details. And when you click on them, guess what? It still don't tell you what they are. So I'm going to go to super resolution and I'm going to say enhance. Now, look, it's going to tell you it's going to take 10 seconds. And this was one of the first things when they brought this out. People were saying, well, how long does it take? Nobody knew how long because it was just a whirling thing, you know, whether it crashed or whatever. Now they put a timer on there so you know that it's taking time. So I'm going to click on enhance and we'll see what happens. And hopefully it will not tell me, make me look a fool. Here we go. Come on. Hurry up. Top left-hand corner, it's saying creating DNG using super resolution.
More than 10 seconds.
10 seconds. 10 seconds. Ah, we're there. Okay. So now look, 1960 by 3685. It's double the size of the image.
And look what it's done to the stone.
Yeah, it looks a bit, doesn't it? So now then, remember what I said about the stack? It's stacked one on top of the other. So that's the one's the original. That's the original. And then look, it's double the size of it. Come on, bing, it's bigger. So if you do want to increase the size of an image, you can do in Lightroom. Okay. So all this thing we've said since it ever came out, it never works on the originals. Well, it's still not working on the original. It's created a new DNG file, which is double the resolution as it was before. So it's done what it's called interpolation, what it used to do in Photoshop in image size and made it a lot bigger. Okay. So that's something you can remember. I'm going to throw that one away. In fact, I tell you what, I think it'll let me do. I'm going to just see if it'll let me do a denoise on here now. So I'm going to go for denoise. So we talked about the stack at the bottom of the panel. Just here, look, it says create stack. Can you see that? Yeah. So that is that create stack there. So create stack means it will put one image on top of the other. You don't have to have that set if you don't want to. Your choice. You saw what it did. It said two of two, and then you have to just click on it and it opens them up. Let's look at denoise then. The denoise, if you set a denoise to it, you can click on the image and look at before and after. And you see, look, I'm clicking without, with it on. The only thing that worries me a little bit when we do this, why does it make it look bigger? I don't know. The other thing you can do is you can come back. In fact, I'm going to just cancel that out because I want to go back to this image and I want to reset the crop. I don't want to crop that. I want to go back to the original image, sorry. So I'm going to go back to denoise. When you're looking at this, it's going to take even longer now. It's thinking about it. 25 seconds, it's saying. If I set that to 97, if I click on it and hold it down, you can see without width, without width. Now, I can move it around. Here we go. Keep going, keep going. But I can also let it finish. It's got to think about it. Come on.
A lot more to look at.
Yeah, and now I've got a little button there that says negative. If I click on that, it shows me the whole picture. Then I can click in an area to look at the noise. Can you see? And I'll watch what happens to the noise. Gone. Click on it. Before, after, before, after. So you can see it does a reasonably good job. The only thing that I looked at, but I think it's on Ron's original picture, it's still loading, is that line down the edge. But I think that's the chromatic aberration, Ron, on the picture. And what it's done, when you've done denoise, if you go, if you go too far on chromatic aberration, it ends up leaving a grey line on areas where it's very high in chromatic noise. And it's still thinking about it. It's still thinking about it. And it's still thinking about it. And this is what happened to me this morning. It sat here and I had to reset it. So I'm a bit annoyed about it. I'll just see, it would let me come out, but it's still saying it's loading. And this is what it did to me this morning. So the question is, denoise, does it work? Yeah, normally when you first open it up, denoise starts at 50. So when you'll have a go first setting in a moment, it will start off at 50. Now I'm suggesting, what time is it? It must be 10 o'clock gone for, oh, it's 10:15, so it's time for your cup of tea. I am suggesting, Ron, if you don't mind, share it with AirDrop, this picture, and we'll all go through it step by step, and I'll go through the settings and what you need to do. So do you want to have a break for a quick drink and then send that to everybody, AirDrop, and we'll all work through the panels together and we'll talk about creating stack, and we'll see how quick. But you can see it's still saying loading on mine, so it's still waiting, so a bit annoying, but I can get out of it. So let's have a quick cuppa then, and then we'll do that, and we'll look at some other images. Linda's got some on, and we'll start to look at denoise and noise changes within shadows.
I can't seem to import that picture from Ron.
Okay, let's share your screen then. Let's have a look, and I'll walk you through it.
Right. Hang on, let me just expand you up.
Bring it down on the bottom one. Right then, Linda, let's have a look where you are. So you're trying to bring in that picture, yeah? So you did it to AirDrop. So go to your left-hand side and go up to where it says select a source. That's it, go up. Yeah, you've got it now. And then you're going to go to where it says Linda Ewing and expand. Don't forget little triangles mean there's something further. And then go to downloads, because I think it'll have dropped in your downloads. So it doesn't appear that you've got it. Oh, yeah, but you don't know. Okay, daft question. Go to Finder.
Thank you.
Click on Finder, go to downloads and see if it's in there from Ron. Yeah, there you go. Look. Now you leave that open, just go to downloads there. Look, that's it. Click. You've not got it. So go to your AirDrop, click on the word AirDrop at the top, Just send it again to Ron, please. There you go. Look, accept. Now go to downloads. And there it is. So now, if you go to your Lightroom folder, on downloads, you already opened it, it's underneath, you can see it.
Not showing up on here.
Close that off.
Close this one off.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, click on downloads, yeah.
Yeah, done that.
It's not seem to be wanting to bring it in. Okay, do me a favor, just cancel the Lightroom ad and do it again. No, button add, cancel at the bottom. Down a bit, down. That's it. Now do it again, import. Down at the bottom. Oh, you're doing it that way, okay. Now click on downloads.
They got a memory stick to
There it is. So now just say import. There you go. And then just drag that and drop it onto your masking class. That's it. And it's there. Okay, you got it. Now, just before we go off your screen, what are you saying that you couldn't do something?
Yeah, I was just, it confuses me because it happens a lot. I did the football match and I
Okay, have you got your pictures there now? What you can show me what you're trying to do?
Let's find them.
Right, let's go through
Newark football final. There it is. Still look, Newark football final. Is that the one?
Yeah, I can't see it.
Keep going up, upwards. There it is. Yeah.
So when I click on that,
Yeah.
it's all the edits have disappeared.
Not sure why you're not.
I think you're working still on two folders. I think you're working on your external drive, perhaps, because I'm going to have a look at your. Let me just. I've asked to see if I can share your request control request. I think looking at that, if I click on develop, there's nothing changed on any of these. Look, I think you've got two different ones open.
Might be, I don't know.
You're working on a different one because none of these have changed. Look,
No, none of them.
no. So you know when I looked at your original, when we looked at these, you've got it on an external disk, and then you copied them over. Where you copied them to? Because you're definitely not editing these. Okay, daft question. Oh, sorry, my apologies. I'm trying to click around. Get your Lightroom back open. There we go. Are there anywhere else you could have put those folders?
Well, is there one what I can put in search?
Wide angle Lincoln. What's that one? Newark Streets. No, it's Newark Streets. I'm just gonna have a look. Press previous import. It's hard to say where you could have done, but you've certainly not changed any of those. Definitely not. No.
No. And yet I spent hours and hours doing it.
Yeah, well, you probably have, but you're not working on those. I can't see any others that you could have got. Do you normally put your pictures on another drive as well?
Only one you set up for me in the house.
Okay, so there's nothing on here that you could have changed.
No. But this happens all the time, and it's really annoying because you get something ready and you think, hang on, I've come out of it, and
yeah, you're doing something wrong, and I don't know what you're doing wrong, and it's hard to say because I can't look at the history of what you've done on these, and I can't look to see as a history to what you've done overall, if you get what I mean, in Lightroom, only on what you've worked on. So it's very difficult. Let me just look at one other thing. Let's go to metadata and let's look at the date. and this is the football matches here. So this is when it thinks what you've done. I'm going to go to all photographs and then do the same thing. So it's got to be this one, isn't it? So you've got nothing in there at the moment. That's all your other pictures. There's nothing else. So I'd suspect that you're working on another copy of these pictures somewhere.
The only thing I think that's happening is I had to edit these on my desktop.
When you say desktop, you mean?
I want in my office.
Yeah.
So I edited them on there,
Yeah.
and put some on a stick for Tony to
Yeah.
club. So, but the edits haven't, and of course I've only used my Lightroom 1 external drive, which is my
Mhm.
Lightroom 1, but they're not showing up as edited in when I turn them on. And
Well,
it's
it won't, right, it won't, because you've not updated. So what you're saying is you edited them on your desktop, but did you edit them using an external disk? Or did you just copy them onto your computer in the office?
No, I always plug my Lightroom 1 disc in, because
Yeah.
that is Lightroom. I don't keep it anywhere. So my whole of my Lightroom is on that disc.
Right, okay, so everything's on here.
Yeah.
Coming back to the DNG.
I'm just looking to see if there's anything else I can see on. I can't see anything else on that drive, but that's your Seagate hub. I suspect, looking at this, that somewhere you have got another copy of these pictures.
Yeah.
Would you have named them, renamed anything else, Linda?
There was one this morning. No, what did it say? I had Newark football final,
Yeah.
but on a completely, it somehow the name of it had gone on to another set of pictures, and so I renamed that file, but those football photos weren't on there.
Okay, I suggest next time you do an edit like that is you might want to just give me an I'll see what you're doing. Looking at this, you're definitely not obviously working on those images now.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Nothing. So you're looking at something else, and I can't see. Just out of interest, let's just one quick look. This one is DFC. I'm just looking to see if you've done anything. No. So you've not done anything else on there.
See, and it's showing up as all the pictures, whereas I only kept probably, I don't know, about 60.
Yep. So yeah, okay, let's have a look.
I got rid of all the rubbish and then, star rated them to 2, and then just sent the ones labeled 2 to Tony.
Yeah. I'm going to just Command C just quickly, and then we'll have to look at it another time with you. But we'll see if there's another copy anywhere on this computer. No, there's no other copy on it.
So what I'm,
So it's not on your computer. I'll just check on that other drive for you. So let's look at Lightroom OneDrive and see if there's any more copies on that one. Might take a while to search all the discs.
so frustrating.
Don't look like it. We'll let that run for a minute. And if it comes up, there you go. Oh, no. So it's not found another copy.
No.
So that is, I think could have possibly worked on your other computers. And I don't know whether you copied them over by accident or I don't know. But according to that, it's not that you've got no other file name.
Surely when I do them on my desktop in the office and I've got Lightroom 1 plugged in,
Yeah.
that's all I ever use, but they're not showing up on my laptop after I've edited them, which is, and then when I come to the class, I
Yeah.
plug my Lightroom 1 into my laptop. So nothing's on my it's all on a drive.
I'll have to have a look how you're doing it, but looking at this, any word, any phrase, ignore case. I don't think it's finding nothing. Yeah.
No.
Okay, I'll have to have a look with you outside the classroom.
All right.
Otherwise, I'm going to hold you all up now. Okay, let's get Lightroom back up. But you've got that image now you can work on. And if you want to know where it is, previous import, there it is in masking class. And there's Ron's picture. So you're ready to go.
Right, okay.
Okay, let's carry on where we left off then. I'll kick up Lightroom.
I think Linda, Linda's got the JPEG version. Does that matter?
I'll do it again.
Why you got JPEG version?
Wrong one.
Right, wait for you to
Accept it.
All that I want better.
We've just done it, so it should be easy.
Okie dokie. Can you all see my screen?
Yep, if you make it full size.
It is full size now, isn't it? Full size, Roger? You all ready to go again?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I've got to get this photo in, and I'm not sure how to do it now.
I've just done it, you.
No,
No.
it's a JPEG. Ron's just sent me the DNG.
Okay, so all you do is go into your AirDrop,
Yeah,
accept it,
done that.
go to Lightroom. Then you can either add it or move it.
I don't go into import files and photos then.
Okay, let me do it again with you quickly. Share your screen.
Hang on.
DNG.
Oops, hang on a minute. Pain in the proverbial.
Last one I did was the DNG.
Oh, stop. Stop it. Just drag your Lightroom. I've got it now. Didn't want to go up. So what you're going to do, you've imported it. Have you using Finder?
Yeah, it's on my AirDrop in downloads.
Yeah. There it is. So
Bottom right.
one other way you can do it, we can do import. We can move. Another way of doing it, I'll just show you a different way. Downloads that into, and we can do it this way as well. Whoop, come on down. Come on. It's on your desktop, isn't it? And then for masking class. So I can do it that way as well. So if you look in your masking class now, well, you've got two masking classes, full masking class and masking class. I'll get rid of that one then. You've got two copies of the same folder.
Yeah.
There you go. So you should have the DNG file in there now.
Oh dear, Gary, gets me down this.
There you go.
Is it there? Is it?
When it's played catch up. And one is the DNG. And that's the DNG file. That's you're going to work on that one.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
Okay, let's share my screen. There we go. So we should all have this. Okay, you all got it? Welcome back, Margaret and Brian and Louise. So here we go. So we've now got Ron's picture up. It's a DNG file, and I have just checked while you were there, and yes, it was added. CR2 or raw files were added. So thank you, Roger, for pointing that. I didn't. It doesn't annoy me when they do updates and it doesn't tell you what it is. I could not see it on there, but anyway, it's there.
Just something I did for it that said that do it as well, so I thought I'd tell you.
Yeah, good. That's fine. So what we're going to do then now, you've got your image up. Let's all click on denoise and let's have a look. And remember, yours will probably kick off at 50%. That's the default when you first operate it. But remember, it always, and I've got a problem here, is this is what it did to me this morning. It just goes there for hours on end, going round and round. So I can only apologise. There you go. So you'll see we've got, you all got 50% showing? So you got to shout out, Linda, for us if anybody else has not got the same one. So you should all have 50%. And you may have a bit different time where it says estimated time. Mine says, at the moment, it's saying 25 seconds.
There you go, 50%.
4 minutes.
Sorry, I'm watching at the minute, Gary, because my Lightroom's updating. It doesn't have denoise at the minute.
Oh, yeah, you need the noise, yeah. Okay, then. No problems. Okay, so you should all have 50%. So to learn to use the panel, as we've said, in the bottom right corner of the image, there's a little icon that says negative in a glass. You can open that up and see the image. So if you all do that, so you know where it is, and it's telling you now that that's the whole image. And if we want to look at a particular area, move your pointer over to the point where you want to see any changes and click, and it will zoom into that area. It will say loading, and it will offer you the enhanced version based upon the amount of your slider which is set. Okay, so you should have, and then if you hold down your mouse button over that area, it will say without enhance, with enhance, or enhance without and enhanced. And you all managed to do that?
Quite a bit of difference, actually.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of difference, yeah. Well, what we're going to do, we're going to do it manually, and we'll do it with this so-called AI. And we'll see how good it is compared. So what we're going to do, let's look at this area here. You can see on Ron's picture, that line is definitely chromatic aberration where it's corrected. And let us all give it a fighting chance and say 50%. Just going to let the dog out.
Shrink my bloody Lightroom down. I'm mad.
Okay, so you've all done, you all got it to 50%? Is anybody any different, Linda?
No, I think everybody's got it.
Okay, let's click enhance. And it should create, it should say in the top left corner of your screen, creating DNG using denoise.
Yeah. Is everybody at the same?
It says on mine, it takes 25 seconds. Good boy. And hopefully it should create you a new DNG. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And it should say img_2406 enhance nr.dngs. Is that correct? And if you open up your history panel on the left hand side or show it, it should tell you that that is the new what it's created.
Yeah.
You all found that? And it should say enhanced NR-50. Is that correct?
Is that?
And the date.
Hang on, Gary.
Okay.
Ron's just helping Judy.
And notice on the right-hand side, on mine, I've got some adjustments. Yours might not have adjustments.
Mine is still working. We got two here that's still working, Gary.
We've got still enhancing.
That's now creating a DNG.
It depends on your computer, obviously, how quick it works. So
How do you unstack it?
you can stack it or you can leave it as separate objects.
There you go. I've unstacked it now.
Yeah.
But which one is the new one then?
If you hover over the image in your film strip at the bottom, it will say IMG_2406-enhanced-NR.dng.
Mine is the number one then, not number two.
Yeah, it could be. Depends on what you whether you stacked it. I mean, I clicked on mine, opened them all. But you'll see two. One will be his original, Ron's original, and your enhanced one. Have you all found that?
Yeah.
My enhanced is number two.
Is it in your history, Roger?
Oh, I don't know. I got that's there now. No.
Ah. So I've got enhanced.
Has anybody not got that, Linda? Ask them all.
Has anybody in the panels all got enhanced NR50? Tony's still waiting.
Oh dear, Tony.
What about you, Teresa? Are you?
Yeah,
Right.
she's still uploading.
Ron, have you got it in your history? Yeah, Ron and
Yeah, Teresa's just updating hers, yeah. Okay. So when Roger sits back down, is it still working, Tony? It's still going, or has he not managed to do it?
still going. Roger's helping him.
Is he okay, Roger?
We're okay now.
How much do I owe you, Roger?
Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to look at Ron's original picture. So if you go back to Ron's original picture, and what we're going to do this time, we're going to actually go into the panel at the bottom and change that to 50% for luminance. And we're going to see if we can get it as good as that. So I found that on the enhanced dialog panel, it zooms into about 400%. So what you need to do, go to the top right hand of your screen, and where it says navigator, if you look on the big screen, it says I've changed that second one to 400%. And to change that, you simply click on the buttons. And I've changed that to 400%. Can you see that?
No.
And that's about the same size as what it is when you use the enhanced panel. So now when I press my,
Can you hang on a minute, Gary? Tony's.
yeah, when I press the space bar, it'll zoom into 400%.
Yeah. Have you got that?
No, where was the luminance? Where was the luminance, Gary?
You need
Go over to your detail panel, and below noise reduction, where you're doing the denoise, it says manual noise reduction. Can you see that?
Yeah.
and I've turned the slider to 50. The detail and contrast always stay at 50. You can change them obviously, but the default is 50. So I'll put everything at 50. Leave the colour as it is, because 37 is about, any more than that it starts to change a lot. So I'm leaving the colour at 37. So you should have this panel on your right hand side. Here, look. It should say manual noise reduction, luminance 50, detail 50, contrast 50. So they're all 50 down this right hand side. Have you all got that?
You want contrast at 50 or contrast?
Yeah, leave detail and contrast at 50. If you double click on it, it should actually go to the middle if it's been changed. Apart from contrast, contrast always goes back to 0 if you click on it. But if you do 50, 50, 50, colour at 37, detail and smoothness at 50. And that is a basic setting for a 1600 ISO, but this is 320, so let's just have a look what it looks like. And then zoom in at 400%.
That makes a big difference.
Yeah. So when you've got it ready,
Zoomed in to 400%.
wowza, it's taking ages to look at this. So tell me when you're ready.
Ready, Tom? It got zoomed in at 400.
Yeah, we're all ready.
Right, what I want you to do now is go to the library module. So look on the big screen, you should have 2 pictures highlighted in your film strip. You can hold the command key down and select them both. Can you both select 2 images like that? Use the command key. Click on one, click on the other. So you should have 2 highlighted images in your film strip. Is that correct?
Yep.
Is that okay, Linda? They all saying yes?
Yeah.
Trees are okay. Does she want any help? Is she still downloading?
Have you got 2 highlighted?
It won't let me.
It will.
I'm watching Tony.
Okay, that's okay. If you get stuck, Teresa, later on, I can always spend a bit of time with you.
Don't seem to.
This will be good for your wedding pictures. If you get noisy, especially in the church.
And I got 2 stacking.
Yeah, if it's stacked, double click on it and split them.
No do.
All right.
So ask the question then, Linda. Has everybody got 2 images? The original and the enhanced one highlighted in the film strip.
Enhanced in the film strip, yes.
Okay. Now what we're going to do now, yep, I want you to just zoom, look on the big screen, top left corner where the hill is. I'm going to click somewhere around about here so I can zoom into it. Can you all do that?
Yeah.
You can choose any of those pictures, it doesn't matter. Are they all zoomed in, Linda?
All zoomed in.
400%?
You take your little cursor in the top left-hand corner
And click on so you can see what we've got on the screen.
under navigator.
You all right, Roger, with that?
Yep.
Okay, is everybody okay? Tony, all right? Ron, okay? Brian, Margaret, and Louise have all done it. They're in front now. Now, what I'm going to do, if you look on the toolbar in the library module, you'll see the first symbol is a grid. Can you all see down on the bottom corner, down here, look? The first one is a grid. The second one is what we're in at the moment called loop mode. The next one has got X and Y. Can you see that?
Mine's got Y and Y.
Yeah, so is mine.
Yeah, so is Ron's.
Have you got two? Well, I think for some reason that you. Are you sure you got your two images selected?
Yeah. I haven't, Roger. That's two images selected, isn't it? Unless it should be those two. No, it can't be because it's stacked, isn't it?
You managed it?
No,
Y and Y, not X and Y.
I've not.
No, mine's
I've
X
still
and
got
Y.
Y and AA and
Okay, let me share your screen then. Let's have a look what you've got.
just a sec.
Right, you've got Y and Y as well.
Because did I not tell you all to go to library module?
Yeah, we're.
No, you're not. You're in develop.
Oh well, it was in library. Hang on.
Naughty, naughty. Now you got X and Y.
All right, so I have.
Yeah. See if you follow teacher, he'll put you right.
Yeah, yeah.
Now
that's
click
it.
on X and Y, and it should
Hang
tell
on.
you that select and candidate. Okay. Have you got everybody else? Has everybody else now got that?
Yeah, have you all got that?
So
Yeah.
Linda was in the develop module, not the library, like I asked. So you should all be in the library module.
It jumped back on its own because I was in library.
Ah,
We believe you.
yeah. So now look at the two side by side. It says select and candidate, and you can click on either in the film strip and swap them over. So if you want to see one on the other side, you can do that. But look at the difference. The one we did at 50 has got it, the actual image is slightly fuzzy, isn't it? It's a lot softer. And you can move these around, and if you move one, click and hold your mouse down, you can move it around to have a look at what you've got. And whatever you do with one, the other one will follow.
It's a bit fuzzy because that was too much bells.
And you can see that the one on the left is a lot softer. Now, I'm not saying that you can't almost match the enhanced one, but you can see the enhanced one is pretty good at picking out the detail for you.
So candidate is it says select and candidate.
That's
So
Right. Correct. So you can swap them over. So if you want the X1, so on the left hand side, I've now put on the enhanced version, and on the right hand side, the candidate to replace. What X and Y means is you can look at something and compare a candidate. So I could say I want to compare it with this one, which is crazy, but I could do. I could compare it with this and say, well, I want to compare this and replace it. Obviously, they're different pictures, and it's all about selecting candidate is about replacing. So you're comparing one against the other. So you can see the enhanced version is better than one we've done at 50%. So I'm not saying that you can't achieve. So if I swap them over, I'm not saying that you can't achieve a good noise reduction, but you can see that the version that they do with I'm going to just turn the detail up and contrast. I'm going to go back to library now and see if I can compare it again. I look at them again and swap them over. I've made it a bit better, but still the enhanced version is better than what we're doing on the right. So the question is it any better? I think if you want to get from A to B a lot quicker, use this.
Is the candidate one the enhanced one?
Tells you at the top. Tells you which picture it is.
it says
At
select.
the moment, I don't matter which is in which screen. I'm just so you can see them side by side. Is that better if I do that? So all we're doing is we're just comparing the two, one side by side. I'm just using the X and Y to show you so you can see them side by side. So which one is better? The enhanced one or the standard one that we've tried to change?
A candidate one is better.
Enhanced.
Yeah.
No, look at candidate. Is it the original that's better or the enhanced one is better?
Enhanced.
Yeah, it is, because it's working it all out. It's doing all the clever bits for you. It's a little bit like, and I know Teresa don't mind me saying this, if I go into develop module, in the basic panel, you've got this button that says auto, haven't we?
Yeah.
Well, that same sort of thing. It goes through and analyzes the image and then makes a decision. And that's what this AI is doing. It's looking at the image, it's doing a denoise, it's looking at the contrast. It's quite clever what it does, and it makes it better.
I use auto in every edit. as a
Oh,
starting
anyway.
point.
Okay. It's a good way of doing it. There's nothing wrong with that. Do you do that as you bring them in, Teresa, or do you do that when you brought them in?
Can you remember when you did my reduce screen, upright and auto, I think?
That's it then. That's brilliant. That saves you time. Good. And to answer a question on this chromatic aberration, you can see we have a line over the top. Wide angle lenses, and in this case, what is it, Ron? You've got 24mm, is very well known, especially when you have a small aperture. What you got, f20? Yeah, f20. You will get chromatic aberration, and just to prove it, if I go down to manual, you can see that if I click on this zone here, it thinks that that is chromatic aberration. And if I switch it off, now can you see the chromatic aberration on the hill? You can see it's got a pink tinge. And then the trouble is, and I always say, you know, you pay for what you get with lenses. Some lenses are better than others. Wide angle lenses in high contrast areas, especially near the edge of an image, more so the edges, because the way it flares the quality image, you will get some chromatic aberration. It does not remove it, it neutralizes it. And now the only problem is when you neutralize it, look, it's going to go on there, I'm going to remove it, it'll go grey. Watch. It's gone grey now. So it's not got colour, but it's got this line. And this is what you have to watch when you do any enhancements, that if I was to turn anything up, or especially clarity, you sometimes you can lose it. But if you're not careful, you get this halo effect. Can you see the halo effect? So you have to watch with chromatic aberration. If it was a very, very important picture, and this is, let's say Ron wanted this in a competition, I would take that into Photoshop and I would go down that edge and follow it down, or I would select that zone and match the sky with it. So I'd lose that line. And there's a little bit.
Sorry, Gary, I have to use it not automatically, sorry, by myself.
Yeah.
Because blue suits are trending at weddings.
Yeah.
And when you put reduce chromatic aberration and you go on the blue suit, because there's a bit of a haze, it turns the edges of the suits orange.
But what you'd have to do there, Teresa, is in the manual section here, look, make sure you take that off, remove chromatic aberration, go to here and pick up the dropper tool. Now, can you see on Ron's mountain, you've got a cyan one side and a magenta the other. If I click on there, it'll get rid of that one, and I can click on there, but it will get rid of the other one. So you can actually swap up which one you're going to do. And you can also add the range. So you can say, look, I want more or less. So in your suits, you could actually fine tune this, and then you'll get rid of that color. So you can actually turn this up. And you can switch on defringe as well. Now that defringe sometimes can get rid of it completely, but it's very, very difficult. I'm turning them right up now. So I've got nothing, but I've got that line. But I can actually lose the color. Yeah, so you can set that barrier where you want it to be. Yeah, look, I've lost it completely now. So you can do that, Teresa, so you don't get, if you get it again, show me, save me, bring a picture in next week or whatever, show it me and we'll see how we get rid of it.
Okay, I will do.
But you can see that line, and it's the only, there's nothing you can do about it. It's just you know, the quality of the lens. It's just how glass works. You get this little tinge, and sometimes, look, as you're getting close to the edge again, you get this again. One other thing you've got to watch for on as well on these images is next time you do this shot, yeah, if you go to a shot like this again, by all means try to f8, focusing on this stone, and take a picture and go through the f-stop numbers. Don't take it off the tripod, just take one at f8, 11, 16, 22, 32 if you've got one, and some have 45. And then we want to look at the chromatic aberration. You'll see where the sweet spot is in your lens, and you will probably find that even at f8 you might get all this in reasonable focus, because even at f20 you can't see much, but your detail is in here. So try that next time you do well, you're not going to Dovedale now, but if you go anywhere you got this sort of thing, do a shot at different levels and you'll see what your lens can do. Okay, does that make sense to you all?
Yeah.
Are you all happy with how this comes together now?
Yeah.
Denoise, and this, I mean, I don't use this thing, but obviously you can do. Let's go back to this. I'm going to click on denoise. Oh, it's been applied because I've got 2 pictures set. Super resolution. Yeah, it's the only time in Lightroom that it interpolates or changes any pixels. It doesn't change it and adds it and makes a new file. So it still doesn't work on the original, but it adds pixels. So that's one. There's your create strike, Roger. You can say can click on that button as well. Okay. Have you got any questions? No. Do you want to try another? Have you got a picture yourself that you can try it on?
I can bring one in next week.
Okay,
And I'll
bring
do
one in
that.
next week and bring that one with the chromatic aberration issue. And I want to start to then look at integrating Lightroom denoise, or Lightroom anyway, to Photoshop to do certain images. And I want to work on a couple of, Roger sent me a few images. See what I mean? Lightroom's crashed again. I've done denoise. And this is what happened to me this morning. I went on to denoise, I did denoise, come out, and now I'm completely locked out.
So annoying.
It is so annoying. And the only way I can get out of it is I have to cancel, come out of Lightroom and go back in. So if you get this, by the way, there's a bug in there. So yeah, annoying, very annoying.
When I was in Budapest, I haunted the life out of this woman. She didn't have a clue. She had a pink suitcase and a big floppy hat, and I was doing street photography.
Yeah.
She'd already walked past the door, lovely doorway.
Yeah.
So the other day I said to Becca, I said, I'm going to move her to put her in the doorway, which I did.
Yeah.
But I don't think I did it properly, because where she had been, it was all white.
We have to show me that one then.
So I had to do that with like
Yep.
content aware and clone tool. But I think you'd say you do it like this, which is where she had been before.
Yes.
Everything would fill in automatically.
Okay, we'll have a look at that one then. And we'll look at this image that you've sent, Lindy. Look at this one. You've sent this one. This is the green, what is it, a grasshopper or something?
Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, let's just out of interest, we've got 5 minutes to go, so we'll be quick to have a look. Let's just click on denoise on this and see what happens. So this is Linda's pitch she sent it. Now look, it's gone to 50% because it defaults to that. And you can see if I do that, that is one hell of a change already. I'm going to come over here to where the insect is. And look at that. You have to change the contrast. So I'm going to click Enhance, Linda. It's going to create a new DNG file. And this is where it does work on, where you've got relatively neutral backgrounds, or backgrounds that are linear tonage. We'll see what it does to this. So look at this image on screen now. It's going to hopefully create a new one. I've asked it to don't stack it. Let's put them side by side. Go to library, Linda, and compare it. And look at the difference. Pretty good, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
not too bad at all. I don't think it's quite as good as on one, but it's on par with the Topaz Denoise. It's pretty good.
Or if you did it at 90%.
Okay, let's do that then. Let's have a go then, Roger. So let's find the enhanced version. That's the enhanced one. I'll just come out of it. I'm going to delete that. Now I've got the DNG file again. I'm going to come out and go back into develop.
Still got
There it is. So let's go to denoise and let's crank it up to 90. You said 90?
That's what I said.
Okay. I'm going to go enhance. Let's see what it does this time.
It'll take a little bit longer because
The only thing you have to watch for is you don't lose a lot of the detail.
Yeah, because it starts to soften, doesn't it?
It does indeed, yeah. And actually, it's quite nice sometimes when you're doing portraits, Teresa. We know when we did the portraits last week and we looked at faces, you can actually do. You see, I think that has come out bloody good, isn't it? You see, we've not lost any of the detail here. We're at 400% here, look. And I think it's retained a lot of that detail.
Would you just add a bit of clarity just to make it a bit
You
sharper
could
now?
indeed. Let's have a look. Let's crank it up because I know you like your clarity and your text.
Spoil the background.
Yeah. Well, don't forget, you said it's sport the background, yeah?
You can work on the actual subject rather than the
Yeah,
background.
so what we would do on here, we could go to here, we select a subject, see if we can find it. It's found it. So let me just make this bigger. So you can see it's took the tree as well, hasn't it? Yeah. So what could you do to separate the insect as a subject from that branch? Anybody?
Subtract.
Subtract, and what we're going to subtract using?
Rush.
Yeah, but look at the difference between the twig and the grasshopper. What colours are they?
Same.
So one's brown and one's green. So what happens if we try a colour range? Subtract. We can try it. Oh, I've clicked on its foot. That don't help. There's a bit of green still on there, isn't there? So it's struggling on there. So you get so far. So we could subtract further with a brush, as you said, Roger. So we could do it with a brush. Sometimes you get away with colour range or a luminosity range. Make sure it's on there. So I'm coming down to here, and what we want is, like Teresa said, what we're going to try and do, we're going to try and increase the contrast. I'll add a bit more where its nose has gone. We're going to increase the contrast, but we want to invert it, don't we now? So we go to here, invert. So now we can soften that off, but sharpen up the cricket. I'm still a little bit off on the brush, so we'd have to go back to the brush. But you can see by building up a mass, you can get to a place a lot quicker and do it. But like you say, Roger, I mean, the ideal thing is let's just get a brush and we want to increase the contrast just on here. So I'm being very quick. Bit of a rough thing, and as Teresa said, let's just give it some clarity. Now you see it's not on the background. And then don't forget, once you create that mask, we can actually turn up the exposure and pick up the insect more, couldn't you? I mean, it's a bit rough what I've done, but you could actually say, well, I don't want the highlights on there, so I'm trying to get the best from that image. I think that can end up being a lovely image. I don't understand why. I've just been trying to look, Linda, why. Let's just close that off. It might be just because I'm in at 400%. It looked like it was hard to focus in place, but it's not. Good, isn't it? So there you go. So you can, yeah, you can do that bit by bit. It's a case of starting off, create a mask, and then I'll just get rid of that one, delete all mask, and then just build this mask up. But you could paint it off. But doing the subject, you could try background. Oh, that's not done a bad job.
A little bit on his legs.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Delete all masks. But select subject seems to be reasonable. I can't choose green because the background's green. So I can't do that. But I could certainly do that. And as you quite rightly said, subtract using the brush. Take off the auto mask off and just get rid of all this. Just best you can do, as rough as you want, to get rid of a lot of it, and then just tidy up the last little bits of detail. I mean, I prefer to use the pen. I haven't got my pen back yet. I've got to have a new thing because we've lost my graphics tablet en route. So in answer to your thing now, it's a bit, I'm still being a bit crude, but we can now increase exposure on it, and as Teresa said, we could increase the clarity and the texture, and even you can get mad and you can go DAs. But you know, you got to watch little bits like this down the middle. But before and after, that's a lot better, Linda, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Very simple, isn't it? But look how sharp that looks now. Before, after. But you've got to be a little bit more gentle than I'm being. And there's nothing to stop you then putting different things on a shaft of light on there, Linda, if the light's shining on it, make it look really good, put a vignette on it to hold your eye in it. So you could have some light rays coming down here if you wanted to. Yeah, to make it look like there's a beam of sunlight just picking up the insect on the branch. Because you've got this lovely light on the branch and the insect anyway. So that's where we're at. So I think we better stop recording. Let's just get recording stopped. I'll stop share and I'll stop recording.